Akadosh, Kinyan Masechta, new Perek Shlishi, chapter 3. We are flying. Yudchet Amud Bet, 18b. If you remember, we already learned this, but we're just going to do a very quick chazarah. The Mishnah says the order of Taanit are how? It says the order of Taanit, which are written in the previous Mishnayot, is talking about Birviyah Rishonah. Birviyah Rishonah means that it never rained. So if it never rains, we go up gradually, which means Rosh Chodesh Kislev Kandan, it still doesn't rain. So now you're going to start doing 3 different Taaniyot. You do Monday, Thursday, Monday. It's like a regular fast. On nighttime, you're allowed to eat. During the fast, you're allowed to do all the 5 different things, working, bathing, anointing, all these things, relations. You're allowed to do whatever you want. Now, it still doesn't rain. Comes the second set of 3. Again, Monday, Thursday, Monday. Now it becomes a little bit more stricter. It's like Tisha B'Av, that in the nighttime before you're not allowed to eat also as well. You're not allowed to do certain things during the day. Fine. The next, it still doesn't rain. Then you do 7. Those 7, nothing's allowed basically. The mamash, they come, they call the shah. It's very, very, they have the 24 blessings instead of 18 blessings. There's an order. That order is only going to be Birviyah Rishonah. If it never rained. Right? Why? Because you go up gradually. Right? What does that mean? If you have somebody, right, that at the beginning, right, what happened is that he's not religious. So what do you want to do with him? You want to come and you want to take him little by little. You can't give him on the head. You can't chop off his head. Why? Because if you chop off his head, he'll never come back. So what do you have to do? Little by little. You have a problem with a machala, right? What do you have to do? So you come, lo alenu, you come little by little. You start doing certain things. Right? Why? Because you don't want to. But now all of a sudden, right? The next part. Aval tzimachim sheshinu. You have the grains or the plants or whatever it is that they're growing normally. And all of a sudden they strayed from the path. They were coming every single morning to nets. And all of a sudden they strayed from the path. What do? Matrima lemiyad. You go for the kill. Right? What do? Right away you come. And right away you have to come and you have to matrim alem yad, right? You have to come and you have to give the truah and this and that. Why? He comes and he says matrim alem yad. You have to do it immediately. Why? Because 1 second, it was going normal. What happened that it went astray? So you have to make sure that what? You're going to make sure that everything's going well.
See why I don't come.
The same halakha would apply. Imagine right now. If for 40 days it stopped raining, meaning at the beginning everything was normal, all of a sudden 40 days consecutively stops raining. Between the 2 rains, immediately what do? You start right away. Why? Because it's very, very simple. If you have a person that let's say we brought down the mashal last night, a child that never spoke. If a child doesn't speak at the beginning, so what do? You say, you know what? Maybe they didn't speak at the beginning because it's taking a little bit longer for their, for the motor skills and the speech and everything. So what happens? But you don't right away go crazy. Why? You do badraga. You do it gradually. Why? Because it could be it's just a little thing that maybe it didn't click, maybe something didn't happen, right? Something, and then so you do it very, very gradually. But why? Because nothing ever. But if you have a child that he was 100% normal, talking, everything, and all of a sudden, from one day to the next, boom, he becomes mudo. He can't speak.
That ain't good.
Right? But what happens? That's a big problem. Why? It could have been a trauma that was like, knocked the guy out completely. It could have been the brain thing. It could have been. So what happens? Right away, matrima lemiyad. Immediately you do it. Why? Because if it's at the beginning, we do it gradually. It could be, listen, maybe we didn't have enough merits. Maybe Akash Baruch Hu was trying to say, you know what, guys, I want you to start sweating it out. So all of a sudden, gradually, we're going to say, until finally we get to the end. But if everything's going normal and all of a sudden something like that,
that's a good word.
Wait. You have to stop. You have to wait. And that's why I told you, that's musar that you learn from the Mishnah. And that's why I told you, somebody that's going on the right path, and all of a sudden he starts going off, boom, you have to give it to him. Matrima lemiyad. Immediately you have to go. Then it says, what happens and why? It's a makkah batzoret. What's a makkah batzoret? Makkah batzoret is a makkah of a drought, meaning that all of a sudden it's going to start a drought, or it's going to start something. Okay, fine. Yardu latzmachim velo yardu la'ilan. What happens if it started raining for plants, but not for trees? What was the difference between rain for plants and rain for trees? So we said already the what? The rain for plants are
hard.
No.
Plants, sorry.
Plants, soft, drizzling, right? Softly, right? But for trees, they're hard. So if they came down for tzmachim, but not for ilanot and not for tzmachim, or for both of them, which means you also had hard and you also had soft, but you didn't have enough rain for what? For borot shechinu me'arot, for the pits. Because they used to use these pits in order to come and to purify the waters, then afterwards use them. So what happens? The exact same thing. You're going to come and you're going to start asking immediately. The same halacha would apply to a city that it did not come and start raining, right? In that city. Tichtiv, as it says, what does that mean? Right? It starts raining in one city, but it doesn't in another city. So what happens? That city, mitrat. Immediately they have to do both. Taanit and trua. You know what trua is? Kiyot shofar. You have to come and they have to do to the right. They have mamash. They start like that. The whole city, but all the cities around them, mitanot velo matriot. They fast, but they don't do the truot. Rabbi Akiva says the opposite. They do the truot, but they don't fast. The same halacha would happen with a city, but they have a plague, a pandemic, a COVID, right? Or mapolet, or earthquakes, or things that just start falling down. That city has to come and start doing ta'aniot and truot. But all the surrounding ones, they do ta'aniot, but they don't do truah. Rabbi Akiva flips it again. They do truah, but they don't do ta'aniot. Right? Very important. Okay?
Let me take it.
Next, what is Dever? What is considered a Dever? You know what Dever is? Dever is a plague, pandemic. What is considered a plague? He comes and he says, if you have a city that there's 500 healthy men, and what happens? 3 dead people come out 3 days, one after another. Which means, right, we're not talking about elderly people. We're not talking about women and children. We're talking about men. Healthy men, that they could be soldiers. They could be mamash, strong. And if now you have 3 people that they die one after another in 3 days, it's epidemic. Right?
3 total?
3 in total. Okay? Then it is a Rishav Devin. Pachot mikan, 1 per day. And he says, Pachot mikan. And if it's going to be less than this, it's not considered Devin. It's not considered a plague. Then it says there's going to be certain sarot, certain sufferings, that no matter what, immediately you come, and everywhere they're going to come and they're going to start doing what's called the truot and ta'aniot. You know what is it? What it is? Shidafon. What is shidafon? It's a wind which is going to come and it's going to take out the seeds from the grain. Or yerakon, when it becomes green. Arbe, locusts. Right? What else? Chasil is another type of locust. Chayara'a, wild animals. Cherev, right? On sword. Matrim alea mipneshi makam alechet. Immediately they come and they saw why? It's a makam alechet. What does that mean? All these things, right? All these things, basically what they are is, right? No, not shitafon, right? It's basically going to be a wind that comes, and when it's going to go by, it's going to basically take away all the seeds from the grain. So imagine you have the grain, you have the stalks, all of a sudden, boom, everything is taken out. Yeah, it's a klala. But this klala, it doesn't stop where it is. It continues going. So for example, locusts, unless it's Mitzrayim, where, you know, it was at its Goshen, or locusts, the second that they start coming into one area, they're going to continue. So you could say, yeah, but it's only in Bay Harbor Island. No. You know very well that it continues. So therefore, no matter where, right? Yeah, no, it started south. It started south, right? It started south, right? So what happened? It comes around, right? And then it continues, right? So what happened? That's the concept of shidafon, right? Or all of them are kameh alechet, right? You have a country, right? They're the big boys, and they want to come and they start conquering other countries, right? And it says, there was a story of the elders that they went in Yerushalayim to their cities. They went and they made a Taanit that it looked like a mamash, which is like an oven size of what? Of Shidafon and Ashkelon. The old Gazru Taanit. That means what? That means the second that they saw such a small amount of Shidafon, boom, right away, Taanit everywhere. Next, Gazru Taanit, 19a, Yutet Amud Aleph. Gazru Taanit al Shachlu Zevim Shne Tinukot. They went and they made a Taanit. You know why? There were wolves that they ate 2 children. They ate up 2 children. They devoured 2 children in Ever Yarden. So what? In Yerushalayim, they already made a Taanit. Rabbi Yosef says, they didn't actually eat them up. Lo shayachlu elal sheniru. The fact that you saw 2 wolves, and it was in like the city area, they already went and they did it.
Is it that were created because somebody didn't read?
Then it says, Al elu matriin b'Shabbat. There are certain times that they do atraot, even on Shabbat. Meaning, even on Shabbat, they'll come and they'll do these things. What is that? Id shikifu anochrim. If goyim come and they're going to do a siege on a city, they're going to come and they're going to fight against it. Even on Shabbat, they're going to come and they're going to be screaming in tefillot. They're going to start saying, Anenu Avinu Anenu, or Nahar, a river that's going to come, and all of a sudden, the dam that comes, and all of a sudden everything's going to flood everything out. A river coming and going over the banks, and it's going to, the same thing. The same thing, you have a boat, which is going to be, rather, you're going to be doing it even on Shabbat. Rabbi Yosef says, Le'ezra. Really, be'emet, it's not that you're actually calling out on Shabbat. Because you're not allowed to come and pray on Shabbat. What are you doing? Calling for help. That's what you're doing. You're not praying on Shabbat. You're calling for help. That's what you're doing. But not for tefillah. Right? Why? Because bakashat tzachim is a surah on Shabbat. So you're not doing that. Shimon HaTivni omer, af ala dever. Even on the dever, the lo dulo chachamim. But the chachamim did not, come and did not agree to him. Next. Al kol tzara shelo tavo al tzibur. On anything that should not come on the tzibur, obviously, which means that comes on the tzibur, it's a euphemism, right? Matrim alehem, you come and you're going to mention to them, chutz mirov geshamim, except for one thing, too much rain. Too much rain. Asterisk. Right? What does that mean, too much rain? Meaning, right? He comes and he says, it's going to be too much rain. Maaseh, this is a famous story. Chonia Ma'agal. Maaseh shamru lo lechonia ma'agal. There was a story with Chonia Ma'agal. Hitpalel shiardu geshamim. Right? That he prayed that it should go down rain. Amar lahem, he told them, Tzu ve'achnisu tanurei psachim. Go bring in go bring in the ovens that you use for the Pesach. Shishlo imoku, that they shouldn't get destroyed. Hitpalel, he prayed. It didn't rain. Nothing happened. So what happened? Ma'asa, what did he do? Aguga. He made a circle in the ground, right? And that's why he's called Me'agel, right? Ma'agal, right? Ve'amad betocha, he stood inside the circle. Ve'amad lefanav, and he said in front of Hashem, Ribono shel olam, banecha samu penehem alai. Your children place their faces towards me. Shani keben bait lefanecha, that I'm like a ben bait to you. Nishba ani b'shimcha gadol, he's swearing in the great name of Hashem. Sheni zaz mikan, that he's not going to move from there until you're going to have mercy on your children. So all of a sudden it started drizzling. Yeah, you heard Amichai. It starts drizzling. Amar, he said, Lo kach shalti. I didn't come and I asked for drizzling. I asked for a lot of rain. It started coming down with a dogs, the right cats and dogs. It started bull. It started coming down. Yeah, Amar, he said, Look, I didn't ask for that. I wanted gishme beracha. I wanted beracha. What happened? It came down like normal. But it came down so much that Yisrael had to come out of Jerusalem, the Harabait. Meaning, Harabait is the highest part, the Temple Mount. It's the highest part of Jerusalem. So they had to go out of Yerushalayim up to the Temple Mount because of the rain. So they went and they told to Chonia Ma'agal, just like you prayed for them to come down. Pray that it stops. Go check if it's already covered. The Even HaTuin, which is basically going to be, it said over here, Even HaTuin, there's a whole thing here that this was like when they used to do a Shavat Avedah, they used to stand up on this stone and start saying to everybody, we found something. That's why it's called Even, the stone of a Tuin. Things that get lost or things that get right? Let's get this straight. So Shalach lo Shimon ben Shatach went and he sent to Choni Magal. Elmaleh Choni ata. If it wasn't Choni, Gozrani alecha nidui. I would have put you already in nidui. Why? Right? Because you went and you were mitchatzef to Hashem. But what am I going to do to you? You sin against Hashem. And he still does whatever you want. Why? Just like a child, that he does something against his father, but still his father will come and do what he wants. And then you, the pasuk says, which means it's fitting for your parents to be happy with you. You have such a child because Hashem comes and he's going to fulfill, right, your will, and I'm not going to make any type of anidui against you. Okay, fine. Hayumi tanim. If right now they were fasting, right, from already last night, and all of a sudden it starts coming and it starts raining, but it was before Netzachama. So lo yashlimu. They don't have to actually come and finish the Taanit. But if it's after the Netzachama, yashlimu. You have to finish the Taanit. Eliezer says, Kodem chatzot. If it's before chatzot lo yashlimu, they don't have to finish it. After chatzot, they have to finish the Taanit. Masechet Taanit belod. There was a story that they made a decree, right, of a Taanit in Lod. So it started raining before chatzot. Go eat, drink, and make a yom tov. They came after in the afternoon. And they read Halel Gadol. So this is the Gemara, the Mishnah, showing us of what they did because they went. It was before the chatzot, after chatzot, all the differences, and then, because of that, they didn't finish the Taanit, and they went and they read. What is Halel Gadol?
Halel Gadol is
what perek? Before you, because I know you know it.
זה ביום שישי, לא של...
באיזה פרק?
וגם בפסח. לא, יום שישי. לא, זה שנייה. יום שישי, זה צריך להיות קוף משהו.
קוף מה? לא.
זה כמו קוף 15 או something.
לא. קוף כ"ט.
לא, לא יהיה.
No, guys, you're the learning. I'm very impressed.
No.